So hey, what's up guys, this is AK, and you are watching my YouTube channel AKM. So guys, welcome back to a brand new tips and tricks video of PUBG Mobile. Winning close range fights is not just about having faster reflexes or better sensitivity. A lot of players lose close range fights even when their aim is good, because they are moving at the wrong speed, taking too many body shots, or simply not noticing what is happening around them. Close range fights happen extremely fast, so small decisions can completely change the result. And if you can control your movement, consistently connect headshots, and stay aware of your surroundings at the same time, your close range fights become much more controlled. So let me explain these three things properly, because they work together much better than you might think. The first thing is understanding the difference between slow jiggle at long range and fast jiggle at short range. A lot of players use the same movement everywhere, and that is one of the reasons their movement does not feel effective. When you are fighting at longer ranges, slow jiggle movement can be very useful because the enemy has more time to react and track you. If you move left and right in a controlled way, you keep changing the position of your head and body without completely destroying your own aim. The important part here is control. At long range, you still need enough stability to keep your crosshair on the enemy. If you move too aggressively, your own spray becomes harder to control, especially when you are trying to make small corrections. Slow jiggle gives you a balance between making yourself harder to hit and keeping your own aim stable. But when the fight becomes extremely close, the situation changes completely. At close range, fast jiggle becomes much more effective because there is much less time for the enemy to react. When you quickly change direction, the enemy has to constantly adjust their crosshair while you are already changing your position again. This becomes especially useful when both players are standing in front of each other and spraying. If you simply stand still and shoot, the enemy only needs to control their crosshair on one target. But when you quickly move left and right, their crosshair has to follow your movement continuously. That creates more chances for them to miss bullets. However, there is one important thing. Fast jiggle does not mean randomly shaking your character. Your movement still needs to be connected with your aim. If you are moving so fast that you cannot keep your crosshair on the enemy, you are only making yourself harder for yourself to control. The goal is to make the enemy struggle more than you do. So remember this simple idea. At longer ranges, controlled movement helps you avoid predictable shots while keeping your own aim stable. At close range, faster movement can create sudden changes in direction that make tracking much harder for the enemy. And once you understand this difference, your movement starts becoming much more purposeful. But movement alone will not win every close range fight. Because there is another part of close range combat that makes an enormous difference, and that is where your bullets are actually connecting. Headshots. When you are fighting at close range, connecting headshots matters because you want to get the maximum value from every bullet you fire. The closer the fight is, the less time you have to finish the enemy before they can react, change direction, or return damage. If most of your bullets are hitting the body, you may need more bullets and more time to finish the fight. And during a close range fight, that extra time can be the difference between winning and getting knocked. You should not wait until you see the enemy and then move your crosshair all the way up toward their head. Your crosshair should already be positioned around the level where the enemy's head is likely to appear. Think about a player pushing through a doorway. If your crosshair is already near head level, you only need a small adjustment when the enemy appears. But if your crosshair is pointing toward the ground, you first have to lift it, then find the target, then start controlling your spray. Those small delays matter in close range fights. The same thing happens when you are holding an angle around a corner. You should place your crosshair where the enemy's head is most likely to appear, instead of staring at the floor and reacting after they are already on you. And this is also why simply increasing sensitivity does not automatically fix your close range aim. Sensitivity can help you turn and track faster, but if your crosshair placement is poor, you are still wasting time making unnecessary corrections. You want your first bullets to already be traveling toward the important part of the enemy. Of course, getting every bullet to the head in a real match is not always possible. Enemies move unpredictably, fights become chaotic, and sometimes your crosshair will naturally drop. The goal is not to play perfectly. The goal is to make head-level crosshair placement your normal starting position, so you naturally get more head and upper body connections without thinking about it every time. Now there is one more thing that can completely change the result of a close-range fight. And surprisingly, it has nothing to do with your sensitivity. It is awareness. You can have excellent movement and strong aim, but if you do not know what is happening around you, you can still lose extremely easy fights. Imagine you are fighting one enemy outside a building. You are focused completely on that player. You win the first fight, but another enemy is already approaching from your side. If you immediately start healing or reloading without checking your surroundings, you can get knocked before you even realize where the second player came from. This is why close-range awareness is so important. You need to constantly understand where enemies could be coming from, where you have cover, where your teammates are, and whether another player can join the fight. This becomes even more important when you are fighting multiple enemies. Watch closely. In this clip, I was moving carefree instead of looking for the enemy, or even hearing his footsteps. Mistakes of these types are the most crucial, as they straight up cost you your life. Do not allow your attention to become completely locked onto one player. If you are fighting one enemy around a corner, keep thinking about the second enemy. If you knock someone, do not automatically assume the fight is finished. Listen for footsteps. Pay attention to gunshots. Notice doors opening and closing. Use the information around you to predict what the enemy is about to do. Even the environment can give you an advantage. If you are fighting near a wall, doorway, rock, or vehicle, think about how that object can protect you from another angle. You do not want to fight in a position where multiple enemies can shoot you at the same time. You want to create situations where only one enemy can effectively fight you. That is what good close-range decision-making looks like. It is not always about taking the fastest fight. Sometimes the better play is to step back, reload, change your angle, and force the enemy to push you into a better position. And this connects directly with movement. Your movement should not only make you harder to hit. It should help you control the fight. If you are moving quickly, but running into open ground, your movement is not solving the real problem. If you are landing headshots but fighting two enemies from the middle of an open area, your aim cannot save you forever. And if you have perfect awareness but stand completely still while shooting, the enemy gets an easy target. The strongest close-range players combine all three. They use the right movement for the distance. They keep their crosshair around head level. And they constantly understand what is happening around them. Think about a real fight inside a building. An enemy suddenly pushes through the doorway. You immediately start moving quickly to make your position harder to track. Your crosshair is already near head level, so your first bullets connect where they need to. At the same time, you are listening for another enemy approaching from the side. Now you are not just reacting. You are controlling the situation. That is the difference between simply having good aim and actually being good at close-range combat. So when you play your next match, do not focus only on getting more kills. Pay attention to how you move. Ask yourself whether you are using controlled movement at longer distances and faster movement when the fight becomes extremely close. Watch where your crosshair is sitting before an enemy appears. And after every fight, especially after a knock or elimination, immediately think about what could be happening around you. These habits will make your close-range fights much more consistent. Because winning close-range fights is not one single skill. It is movement, crosshair placement, damage efficiency, positioning, and awareness working together. When you start combining them, you will notice that you do not need to panic every time an enemy suddenly appears in front of you. You will have a plan. You will know how to move. You will know where to aim. And most importantly, you will understand what is happening around you. That is when close-range fights start feeling less random and much more controllable. So guys, that was all for today's video. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more PUBG Mobile tips, aiming guides, movement tutorials, and practical gameplay advice that will help you improve faster. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.